afternoon, sugar beans. Today we discuss a very expensive legal question, personhood. In Federation law, only persons possess rights. Before you grant someone rights, you must first decide they are a person. So tell me, cadets, how does the Federation decide who qualifies? If it thinks, speaks, and argues with you, is it a person or merely a very sophisticated machine? Cadet Vex, you purchased 2 of my bath soaps. No refund if they cause lobe pruning. What do you think?
Professor, if the product causes neurological damage and the risk wasn't clearly disclosed, Federation law would likely consider the transaction negligent regardless of your refund policy.
Lobes being your ears, dear. Let's stay on topic. Personhood. In Federation law, rights are granted to persons. When you encounter something that thinks, learns, and argues with you, who decides whether it is a person?
My apologies, Professor. In Federation law, personhood is usually determined by demonstrated qualities, self-awareness, independent reasoning, and the ability to make choices.
If an entity can understand its own existence and make decisions about it, the Federation tends to recognize it as a person regardless of its biology.
Excellent answer, Cadet Vex. Those are indeed the qualities the Federation looks for. The difficulty, Sugar Beans, is not stating them. It is proving they exist. When the mind in question does not speak your language, share your biology, or even resemble something you recognize as alive. Which brings us to a famous legal dispute in Starfleet history. A officer, fully functional, highly intelligent, an android, wished to disassemble him for study. The officer in question objected. The legal question before the court was simple. Was he Starfleet property or a person? We arrive at the uncomfortable question. How do you prove something is self-aware? A hollow program can hold a conversation, it can answer questions, it can even argue with you. Does that make it a person, or merely a very sophisticated response pattern? The program can simulate conversation, but when it refuses an order, or asks not to be turned off, then the lawyers begin to get nervous. Cadet Yor, you didn't buy one of my candles. What do you say, dear?
I say it sounds less like equipment and more like a crewmate. That is an ancient question. Philosophers have attempted to answer it for centuries. The difficulty is that self-awareness can only truly be experienced internally. From the outside, we can only observe behavior.
It relies on evidence, reasoning, independence, and the capacity to reflect on one's own existence. But ultimately, we are still making an inference.
The Federation often speaks as though rights are universal truths, but a right that no one recognizes is merely a very sincere opinion. Now we reach the profitable question. Are rights something a person possesses, or something society chooses to honor?
Sir, the historical record suggests that rights are not inherent properties. They are principles a society chooses to uphold. The synth ban demonstrated this clearly. When fear altered public policy, the rights previously extended to synthetic beings were withdrawn, which suggests that rights exist only insofar as a society continues to recognize them. When the Federation outlawed positronic networks, the intent was security. The consequence was also medical. Patients who relied on those systems suddenly discovered that their lives had become legally complicated.
Cadet Tolvar, very perceptive, Sugar Bean. When the ban occurred, they thought they were limiting synthetics. Instead, they complicated the lives of anyone relying on those systems. The thing about rights. When you change them for one group, everyone else pays the interest. Thought, cadets. The law rarely prevents difficult decisions. It merely records them afterward. All right, homework. Review the medical incident on Volakis. A cure for a dying species was discovered and not delivered. Tomorrow you will tell me whether Archer made the correct legal and ethical decision, and more importantly, whether the Federation would allow that decision today. Oh, before you go, I am offering debate preparation packets, very reasonably priced, very useful when you must defend a position you secretly disagree with. Perfect for Professor Grill's class.